Hello and welcome to Woke Watch. And today's video should serve as a warning to anyone watching who has young children, because we're going to see an example of the type of person educating thine spawn. And that so much of this far left woke bullshit is coming from educators should come as no surprise. There's an old saying, those who can do, those who can't teach. Of course, there are many teachers who are fine, upstanding members of their communities. But there are also many who aren't, and they tend to be a certain type of person. They've gone through the education system, school, college, university, but when the time comes to go out into the real world, where the rest of us live, they realise they can't handle it. So they train as teachers and go back into education, attempting to indoctrinate children into their truly bizarre worldviews.
Here we have another veteran teacher who's insisting on the use of boys and girls in the classroom. Why is it so necessary to constantly remind kids of the gender binary with norms that we as a society literally made up? It's the same thing as saying, okay, talls and shorts, okay, blondes and brunettes. Not only does it divide the blondes from the brunettes, but it also leaves out the redheads. Statistically, redheads are pretty rare, but they exist. Biologically, socially, emotionally. Even if you don't like redheads or you've never met a redhead, dividing boys and girls constantly creates a disparity between the two and leaves out intersex children, non-binary children, and transgender children. It is disrespectful, it is hateful, and it invalidates another human's personhood.
That clip was taken from the Twitter account, The Libs of TikTok. And if you go on that account, there are dozens of similar videos. Teachers, almost always from the USA or the UK, pushing their weird woke agenda on race, gender and sexuality, never anything about actual education, onto children. Now, when I was a lad, back in the 80s and 90s going to school, I didn't know most of my teachers' relationship statuses, I didn't know their political beliefs, I didn't know their hobbies and interests, and I definitely didn't know anything about their sexualities. Because back then, there was the crazy notion that teachers should be educating children, not fucking brainwashing them. So let's break down the argument presented by, well, we can all see it's a woman, but I'll put money on it, it goes by they, them pronouns. Why do so many teachers use the gender binary of girls and boys? Well, because other than very, very rare examples, which we'll get to, that's all there is. XX or XY chromosomes. People can identify as whatever they want, but it doesn't alter reality. And is it just me, but pushing this onto young children whose brains haven't fully developed, who are highly impressionable to any authority figure, like fucking teachers, doesn't feel like education, it feels like manipulation. Fuck it, it's grooming. So let's start with the notion that having girls and boys is the same as dividing children into tall and short. Well, bad luck, sugar tits, because that happens already. Every school photo, the year photo, all the kids in the front row, the ones sat on chairs, they're all short asses. The tall ones are at the back. And more often than not, you'll find the front rows of the photo are mostly made up of girls and the back row are mostly made up of boys, because on average, boys are bigger. Almost like there's some sort of binary going on. How about her example that dividing children by hair colour is the same as dividing them by sex? Blondes and brunettes, that leaves out the redheads. Well, the thing is, there are only two sexes. There are more than two hair colours. Like every other woke person, she invalidates her own fucking argument. Also notice she didn't mention afros, racist tarts. And of course, the intersex thing has to be thrown into the mix. And intersex people exist, but they are incredibly rare. The most up-to-date data I could find says that throughout the population, 0.018% think they may be intersex. That's not confirming they are, they think they might be. And of course we should acknowledge that these people exist. But they're a tiny minority, and we live in a society where the majority rules. And I've used this example many times before. Only around 1 in 10 people are left-handed. I happen to be one of them. So I accept that the world is the wrong way around. However, when I meet someone and they shake me by my right hand, they're not invalidating my humanity. They're not erasing me from existence. To be blunt, I'm just glad that we've got to the point as a society that as a lefty, I'm no longer burned as a witch. And when it comes to the trans and non-binary question, I want to know, how old are these children that she's teaching? Because I don't think until someone's gone through puberty, before the hormones kick in and everything switches on, no one's entirely sure what they are. Now, the non-binary thing is very popular at the moment because it gets you victimhood points very easily, and being a victim is so important in woke culture. However, my opinion, and I own this opinion, when it comes to non-binary people, I believe the vast majority are doing so through either narcissistic attention seeking, undiagnosed mental illness, the need to fit into a group, or a combination of all three. And when it comes to trans children, of course there are trans kids. But over 70% of children who say they're transgender during adolescence, basically they grow out of it. It's a phase where their hormones are racing. So to say using the terms girls and boys is hateful, is that hateful? Or is it worse to have a teacher using her platform as an authority figure to push her weird woke agenda onto kids who are easily manipulated and confused, presumably just because she can't accept herself? Imagine being a young kid in her class, putting your hand up and going, "Miss," to which she'd spit back, "It's mix, actually, MX, I'm non-binary." The child then goes on to ask, "When are we going to learn to read and write?" And she'd come over in a rage and say, "This term we're learning about trans women's cocks." As ever, thanks for watching.